Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Hire This Person, Qualities of Top ISA Talent with MAPS Coach Anna Krueger. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available within 24 hours on the MAPS Fast Track YouTube channel. You may access the YouTube channel from your Zoom confirmation email, and we will also share the link in the chat momentarily. Currently, everyone's on mute. We do value group participation, so we ask that if you have any questions for your coach, please type them into the chat box below and they will be addressed throughout the webinar. Following this meeting, if you have any questions about today's call or our other coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That is fasttrack@kw.com. And that's all for me, Anna. Take it away.
All right, hey everybody, great to see you. Can you all hear my voice? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, cool. I'm Anna Krueger and I'm excited to lead today's webinar. Real quick, if you're there and you're able to turn off your camera, I would love to see your faces. And I'm not looking for perfection here. You can be eating your lunch if you need to be. But I would love to see your faces. It's super energizing. Awesome. Thanks for popping on, guys. And I'm just going to tell y'all, you may see a very nervous husky in the background of today. Do we have any dog lovers here? Okay. If you've ever had a dog with anxiety, please reach out to me. My dog has like flipped a switch and she's joining us for today's webinar because she is like shaking and panting. So I'm sorry if she's distracting, but I don't think she will be. Can you all hear her? Okay, cool. You're getting like real deal, authentic Anna today with her dog. Well, I'm excited to be with you guys today. I'm going to introduce myself real quick because I see a lot of new faces here. And so I want to let you know who I am and why I'm leading this webinar today. While I do that, if in the chat box, you would say what made you join today's webinar and what your position is. So some people are here because you are an inside sales agent and you're curious, what does talent look like? Am I showing up that way? And then others of you may be here thinking, I want to hire an inside sales agent and I want to know what I'm looking for. So if you would use the chat box, let me know your position and then what brought you to today's webinar, what you would like to learn. That will help me lead us today. So far I see it looks like we're hiring ISAs. Let me introduce myself real quick and then we'll jump in. My name's Anna Krueger, as you can see there at the bottom of the screen. I've been doing inside sales since 2006, and I've had a lot of failure. I've also had a lot of success. So my goal today is to help you learn how not to fail in some of the ways I have failed. So I've hired inside sales agents that did not work out. I had blinks on people, meaning in the interview process, I had like, and then I was like, I'm going to move ahead anyway. And then it ended up coming back to bite me. So today we're going to talk a bit about what does talent look like, and it's coming from experience. So I've been doing inside sales since 2006. I've been leading inside sales agents since 2008, and my whole world is inside sales. So my goal today is to guide you through how to find someone. And it looks like most of you are hiring. I don't see anyone here that says I am an ISA, just wondering, am I doing a good job? So it looks like all of you are hiring. So tell me in the chat box the specific things you want to know. Oh, Shelly's an ISA. So Shelly, maybe you can speak up for some of these things too, and you're hiring. Let me know what exactly you want because I'm going to provide a lot of content today and I really want to be aware of your questions there in the chat box. So let's first start off talking about just what is an inside sales agent? Who are they? What do they do? So an inside sales agent, and I'm going to give you my definition for the real estate industry. This is not the textbook definition. Okay, but this is like the practical definition. An inside sales agent, I'll refer to them as ISA because it's easier. They are the person who 6 out of 8 hours a day, their job is to lead generate, lead convert. Okay, so if you're an ISA thinking, am I like up to par? Just evaluate, am I working an active lead gen lead conversion 6 out of 8 hours a day? The reason for that is people will ask about part-time ISAs and things like that. The reason that we have them full-time, the way I'm describing it, is the power of having an inside sales agent is you have consistency. Raise your hand at me there in the screen if you're hiring an ISA because you realize I am not in the office enough because I'm servicing clients, or our agents are not in the office enough and we're not consistent with our lead gen. That's our problem. Like we're hit or miss. We don't follow up with all the leads. And quite a few of you just raise your hand and we're like, yeah, that's me. So can you see why a part-time ISA is probably not going to be the best fit, right? Now, I have had teams do part-time ISAs, and what they do is make sure they're there 5 days a week versus they're there 3 days a week. That could still allow some consistency, but generally speaking, we want this to be a full-time person who is seriously after converting leads. And the other reason we like full-time is because they can really develop their skill. If you're only doing something a little bit, you're never going to become excellent at it, right? And so we want someone who is excellent at lead gen, lead conversion. I want to be able to put this person up against any agent on the team, even the Rainmaker, and they're going to be so good at lead gen, lead conversion, they could probably win a contest in converting leads. Got it? And it's because this is the lifeblood of the business. Can we all just agree that if we don't have a skilled person generating and converting leads for us, every other position on the team will go away? Right? Like, and no, every position is important. I cannot imagine surviving without operations. That is a nightmare to think of me not having operations. I cannot imagine surviving in this business without a marketing person. I just got off the phone with my marketing person and I thought, I don't know what I would do without him. He helps me think through all these things that I would not think of otherwise. But the truth is, we don't have money to pay marketing. We don't have money to pay operations, and we don't have leads to give to our agents if we don't have a talented inside salesperson, right? And if you don't have an inside salesperson, then it's the agents. But the point is, we don't have money if we don't have lead gen, lead conversion. So this person needs to be top notch. So let me just ask you guys, let's make a list together. Everybody get out notes, and we're going to just make a list. What are things that you believe a talented lead generator, lead converter must have? Like, we have the perfect ISA in front of us. What do they possess? How do they conduct themselves? Let me hear from some of you, and then I'll throw my 2 cents in the hat. And for this, you can unmute yourself.
My name is Patty. I'm in San Antonio, Texas. Right now, I'm having the struggle of how to do this right with the ISA. But the one thing I've seen with the person that I'm looking at right now is the drive. Like, you teach them drive. And the thing is that this person is very young. So he knows that he's going to have to prove himself he knows that he's going to have to prove himself by working and doing, the calls and doing showings if he needs to do them. But he's so driven. But the thing is that because he doesn't have experience and he's getting his license first, is that a bad thing?
Well, we'll come back to that. So I want to keep us on track with identifying the qualities we're looking for, but Patty, at the end, I'll open it up to questions. Okay. Because we're going to talk about that too, because as you're hiring, you want to think through, do I want someone with experience or do I want someone who's brand new? And there's not a right or wrong. So Patty, if I forget towards the end of the webinar, remind me to come back to that. Okay. But let's stay focused right now on just 1 word, 2 words. What are the adjectives that describe a talented ISA? And I agree, driven. Let me add something to that. Everybody write this down. I want you to highlight it and circle it because it's that important. This is not a customer service position. This is a sales position. It's not customer service. And here's the thing is we need someone who's good with customers, right? Like they need to be someone who puts people at ease. They want to help people have their problems solved, things like that. But can we all just agree this is not a customer service position? This is a sales position, right? And let me explain how this shows up, and then I want to hear more adjectives. What I have found, if I am coaching someone who is very customer service oriented, what I hear them say is, I feel bad asking for the appointment. Have you all heard this before? I feel bad. But here's the thing, is when you are a salesperson, the mindset is, I feel bad if this person works with anyone else because we will take the best care of them. Like, it's almost like a talented salesperson has this knowledge that the road is out up ahead. And let me ask you guys, if the road is out up ahead and you see drivers coming down the road and you're standing on the side, what's your demeanor towards the drivers when you know the road is out up ahead? What are you doing? How are you acting? Somebody tell me.
Planning ahead.
Yeah, but like you're on the side of the road and you know that in about 100 yards, the road is out and you see drivers coming down the road. Like as you're standing on the side of the road, how are you standing there?
Trying to get a ride.
Trying to get a ride. But like,
warning.
I'm probably not setting this up right, but yeah, I heard somebody warning them.
Warning.
Like, but I'm like, stop. The road is out up ahead. Like, I'm not passively like, hey, I really don't mean to interrupt you, but the road's out up ahead. But if you don't want to stop, it's totally fine. You see what I'm saying? That would be more of a customer service mindset of like, I just want to keep you happy, right? Because that's what customer service does. But in sales, we want what's best for the client. And we understand that if they work with any other team, it's to their detriment. So it creates a boldness. Just like if I know the road is out up ahead, I'm not standing on the side of the road kind of passively. I'm standing on the side of the road assertively. I'm driven to help you stop your car because I know that if you proceed, you are going to be in a dangerous position. Does this make sense to everyone? The analogy I'm making here? So what we want is that person who understands the best thing that I can do for this person is to coach them to work with our team. I'm going to ask them about their goals, and I'm going to help them see that if they work with anyone else, it's really to their detriment. That's the kind of person we're looking for. So Patty, driven, all that came from your word driven. So let's hear, I'm going to help myself stay on track here. Let's hear some 1 or 2 word adjectives. What makes someone a talented salesperson? Let's make a list. Who else has something? Don't be shy.
Overcome rejections.
Yeah, they can handle rejection. Absolutely. So they're not, so the way you would find this out in the interview process is maybe asking them, tell me about a time you were rejected and how you processed that. How you process that. And what we're looking for is someone who understands it's not about me. It might be that they didn't understand what I had to offer. Something along those lines. But you want to listen for how does this person process perceived rejection? That's something important to find out. I see in the chat box here, they are a teacher and a coach. Joy, where are you? I love that answer. That is a beautiful answer. Here's the thing, guys. When I teach Mastering Inside Sales, one of the classes that we offer through MAPS, one of the first things I tell them is you are actually a coach. You might have the name buyer agent, listing agent, or inside sales agent, but what you actually are is a coach. And the reason for that is coaching is all about helping someone achieve their own personal goal, right? So if I'm talking to a lead, let's say I'm talking to Nancy and she's a buyer lead. I can't make it all about our team. I need to know, why does Nancy want to move? What's that going to do for her? You know, Nancy's about to pack up her entire house and move across town. That sounds like a nightmare. Why is Nancy willing to do that? And then my job as an inside sales agent or buyer listing agent is to constantly remind Nancy, hey, Nancy, we're getting together, but remember the reason we're getting together is to help you downsize so you have money to travel. That's why we're getting together. Or, hey, Lauren, we need to have you talk with the lender, but remember the reason we're having you talk to the lender is you want a bigger house to grow your family. See that? So we're looking for someone who has a coaching mindset. They are passionate about finding out someone's goals and then helping them achieve them. So as you're hiring people and you're interviewing people, find out what's their mentality around sales. Just ask them, what's your mentality around sales? What's your mentality about real estate sales? And you're looking for someone who has a coaching perspective. Okay. Who else? I got some stuff here in the chat box, but I love hearing your voices. What else are we looking for that would be a sign of talent?
Someone that is assertive.
Mm-hmm. How would that show up in an interview process, Elizabeth or anyone else? Like, how would we know that someone's assertive?
Something that showed up in my life or my world as it relates to hiring an ISA is I posted a job ad for an ISA, and literally like 2 minutes later, I had someone call the office and was pursuing me. Like, and that was, I had in nowhere in the job ad did I say, call me. Right. Yeah. It was,
that's so resourceful.
Yeah. So that's what I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. They're assertive. And I'll just be honest with you guys. I say this with love and respect. Please know that. It can almost be a little annoying when you're hiring because you're busy and you're trying to get all the interviews done and they keep like pinging you. Like, hey, just following up, checking in. Like, hey, did you get this reference? Or hey, when are we meeting again? But at the same time, aren't we looking for someone who's really good with follow-up? So there's been times where I'm busy hiring and they don't know how many people I'm interviewing, but I know. I know I'm like working all these, all this extra time to hire someone and they just keep contacting me. And what I've noticed is the people that are the most consistent usually make great ISAs. They're great at follow-up and it shows that they want what they're coming for. I also see in the chat box, Patty said not emotional, they're logical. And I would say that's 1,000% true. So understand that this person needs to be a problem solver. So write that down. This person needs to be a problem solver. And here's the thing, and I'm going to make a bold statement, and I know it's bold, but the reality is, if I was an expert at handling objections, I would set an appointment with everyone I talked to that was motivated, right? Like if I talk to a motivated person and they don't set an appointment with me, what that means is I did not overcome an objection. That's what that means. That means that they're meeting with someone and it's not me. So that means I didn't uncover or solve one of their concerns. So we need someone who can think pretty quick on their feet and they're pretty good at solving problems. One thing that I like to do for this in an interview process is to have someone interrupt if I'm interviewing them in a room. I like to have someone from the office pre-planned come in and say like, hey, Anna, so sorry, this room got double booked. We need to have you switch rooms. Can you go over here and continue the interview? And I like to just see like, how do they flow with that? Do they get totally rattled? Do they go with the flow? Can they pick right back up where we left off? And then just asking them, tell me about a situation you faced and how you figured your way out of it. Tell me about a predicament you got into and how you figured that out. And what you're looking for is someone who's a problem solver. You're looking for someone who's smart. What they need to do, and I'm saying this to you partially as after you hire them, how to train them, you need to help them understand the real estate industry. If someone calls today and says, I don't want to buy a house because I think the market's going to crash, you need someone who's intelligent enough and word savvy enough that they can explain the reality of the market and that it's not about to crash in a way that people can understand. Which is why I love when Joy said they're a coach, they're a teacher, because that's what they are. They're an educator. And when you educate people well, they tend to want to work with you. What do you guys think so far? Is this helpful? Awesome. So we're looking for someone who's assertive. We're looking for someone who's a teacher/coach. We're looking for someone who's driven. We're looking for someone who is smart. And now I'm about to say something that's going to sound like a Hallmark card, but it's the truth. You need someone who feels like a friend quickly over the phone. And that makes sense for this position, right? This is going to be a position that they are contacting people on your behalf, primarily on the phone, if not exclusively on the phone. So I know that they might be nervous. So I've heard people say, yeah, but they might have been nervous because they were interviewing. Well, I look at that like they're probably going to be nervous calling leads. So don't dismiss if they're super stiff and like not relaxed and they feel kind of cold. Don't dismiss that as they're nervous because they're talking to me who might hire them. They actually are probably gonna be nervous calling leads all the time. Are you tracking with me? And so I want someone who, even when they're talking with me for the first time, and they might be a little bit nervous because they really want the job, I want someone who can flow in the conversation. They feel warm very quickly. You want a personable person. That's what you're looking for. And I would say the biggest, this would be the biggest thing I'm looking for. And this is true across the board: buyer agent, listing agent, inside sales agent, operations, marketing, every position on the team. The absolute number one thing that I personally look for is a teachable spirit. Because if you have someone with the right qualities, but they don't know the industry yet, I can teach that to them if they are willing to learn. This person is going to need to be able to listen to a recorded call and hear critique, constructive criticism on their call, and be able to take that and grow from it. Want to hear a terrible story? I know I just set that up so well. But I was helping the team hire their ISA years ago. They were one of my MAPS coaching clients. And they said, hey, let's have you talk to him because you're an ISA. He's going to be an ISA. We just want to see what you think. So I said, great. Before we meet, give him a script, any script. Just pick a script and give it to him so that he's had it maybe a week before I talk to him. And then tell me whatever script you give him. Okay. So I get on the phone with him and I'm doing an interview and I say, hey, you know, what did you think of that script the team gave you? And he said, I thought it was terrible. I did not like the way it was written. I thought it sounded really bad. I rewrote it. I rewrote the script. And I immediately knew this person is not going to be the right fit because he hasn't even been hired for the position, yet he thinks he knows more than the people hiring him, right? That is a huge red flag. You want someone that, and guys, hear me when I say this, you want someone who is willing to say, I don't understand, yet you've been successful and I trust you. I'm going to do what you say. And I'm saying that partially as an inside sales agent and also as someone who's hired inside sales agents. I remember when I started with my team, Haro was my leader at the time. And I just remember thinking, he has built a team that's doing almost 200 transactions with 2 agents. And I think if he says it works, it probably works, even if it makes me really uncomfortable. And I'm not saying I was a perfect learner all the time, but I can tell you my overall heart was, if he says it works, I see his track record, I'm just going to listen to him. I'm just going to trust him. He knows what he's doing. You want someone who's willing to submit to that process. If you have someone who's constantly challenging you on your material and your scripts and the way you do things, that person is not gonna, they're not gonna learn. That is an immediate, like, huge red flag. This isn't gonna work. So as you're hiring ISAs, I recommend that you give them a script and just say, hey, in our next interview, we're gonna practice this script. And really what I'm looking for is that when they come back to that second or third interview, wherever you decide to give it to them, it is obvious that they have spent time familiarizing themselves with that script. That's what I'm looking for. Got it? If they haven't done that, huge red flag, huge red flag. So teachable spirit, driven, assertive, they feel like a friend quickly, and they understand this is a sales position, not a customer service position. Okay. You can have someone with a customer service background come in and possibly be coached into a sales mindset. But what I find is their performance is usually lower than people with a sales mindset. Okay. Because again, the number one thing I hear is I feel bad asking for the appointment. We want someone, and I'll end with this, and then I'm going to go to the question of should they be licensed first or not that we had earlier, Patty. You want someone who thinks of it almost like the doctor who sees someone having a heart attack at the restaurant. And they boldly go up to the person having a heart attack and they say, I'm a doctor. I know exactly what's going on. I recognize the signs and symptoms. You need to come with me. So they basically are good at identifying a problem, and then they're very confident in providing the solution. Would we want a doctor to approach our table if our, father-in-law is having a heart attack at our dinner table? Would we want the doctor to approach our table and say, hey, I really feel bad. I don't want to interrupt your dinner. And I really don't want to sound arrogant, but I think maybe perhaps you're having a heart attack. But again, like if you don't want to have your dinner interrupted, it's fine. I don't want to interrupt you. Can we all just agree that that's not helpful? Helpful is, even if they think I'm weird, I care so much about them that I'm boldly going to approach them, figure out what the issue is, and provide the solution. That's what we're looking for, is someone with that type of confidence. So let's go to the question Patty had, and I think you were asking about experience. Should they be licensed? Let me just answer it this way. I think you have to decide where your team is and also your capacity. So what I mean by that, when my team hired me, I had already been training inside sales in a different industry for about 7 years. So when they hired me, they didn't have to spend a lot of time training me on the sales process. They did have to teach me real estate. They did have to teach me the CRM and things like that. But they didn't have to spend a lot of time teaching me how to leave a voicemail, how do I uncover motivation, how do I deal with an objection. Now, they also didn't have the time to teach me that stuff. So it made sense to hire me, and they had to pay more to hire me. So when you want to hire someone with more experience, you're going to pay more out of the gate for that person. But it's also more likely that they're going to succeed really fast. Okay. Now, if you're in a position where you say, I want to train them from the ground up, I have the time and capacity to do that, that doesn't scare me. And I'm okay taking a bit of a risk because they have no proven track record. I'm willing to do that. Then that's okay too. You just have to acknowledge it's going to take a lot more time and effort to get them where they need to be. And one is not right and one is not wrong. You just have to decide, what are you able and willing to do? Someone hired me for the first time in sales, right? Like I started off somewhere, and you guys all started off somewhere for the first time in a sales position. Thank goodness for that first person who took a risk on us, right? So you might have someone, Patty, who is someone who maybe they'll be coaching inside sales one day because that's their thing and they're so good at it. But right now you don't know that. So it's unproven. It's going to take more time. And honestly, they may or may not be the right fit. If you have more money and you have less time, then I could see it making sense to hire someone who's maybe they've run a call center. Maybe they've done inside sales before. Yes, you'll still need to train them on your team and the real estate industry, but you're not going to teach them how to uncover an objection. You know, like you're not going to have to start at scratch.
Yeah, and I guess the reason I asked about that, because over the last 2 years, seeing him go through things that he went through in the last 2 years as a high school student, and the things he's done is so driven that I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This guy, this kid, not a kid anymore. He's so driven.
Yeah.
So driven. So that's what made me think, am I thinking the right way about this?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and like I just hired a marketing guy who he has a lot of experience, but not in everything I need. But I see his integrity. He's incredibly driven. He's hilarious. He fits the culture. My energy goes up when I'm around him. I feel like he's going to make me have to be a better leader because he's such a great guy. And I know, like, I know he's going to have to learn as we go, and it might be a little bumpy. So if y'all get some weird marketing emails from me, we're learning, okay, with this new person. But I totally believe in him. And I have no doubt that he's going to figure this out because I know who he is. I know him. We were on the worship team at church together. So I got to know him, and like, I know who he is. I can see, like, I can't even tell you how excited I am about him, but he's unproven. We might work together for 6 months and then not work together because he's unproven at this point. So you just have to evaluate and weigh. I will say one last thing, Patty, you made me think of this. It can be wise to hire 2 at one time if you have the budget for it, because it can provide some healthy competition. And also, if you hire 2, you have a better chance of ending up with 1. Now, if they're both performing, you have 2 ISAs. You might end up with 2 that don't stay. You know, the first 2 I hired were off the team within 6 months. So that can happen. But what we do find that when you hire 2, it can help them have some camaraderie with each other and, you know, healthy competition. I'm so sorry if y'all can hear her. Can you hear her? Okay, good. My coworker, I saw someone type my
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, good.
Looking for things.
I know. I think she's got dementia that just recently formed. So it's rather sad, actually. But anyway, we do what we got to do for our dogs. We love them, right? Okay. Did y'all get what you wanted from today? Did you get some ideas of what quality ISA talent looks for? One last thing I will say is when I say you're looking for a problem solver, those of you that are ISAs, I'm kind of speaking to you right now. I used to think, how do I let my team know of things that are broken, but not come across like a victim? Have you ever wondered that? Like, I don't want to come across like a victim, but we have actual problems on the team that need to be addressed. So how do I bring that up in such a way that I'm not being a victim? And the thing I would say is to bring up things that need fixing with some thought through solutions. So that might sound like, hey, Rose, here's what's going on our team. And I don't know what you think about this, but I've thought of 3 potential things that would fix it. So that way I'm bringing up the issue, but I'm also providing some ideas that I've already thought through. And that's how you can address challenges without coming across like a victim. Make sense? Okay, so let me tell you where to find some resources and then I'll let you guys go. We do have 2 classes. One is called How to Hire, Train, and Retain ISAs, where we spend 5 hours. It's an hour a week for 5 weeks, going over very in depth. How do you pay this person? How more qualities of what you're looking for. I give you job ads. I give you all the stuff. Then we also talk about how do you keep them on the team. So you can hire someone great, but if you're not providing the right environment, they may not stay. So that class is around not only hiring, but also keeping talented ISAs on your team. That's coming up in September. The other class we have is called Mastering Inside Sales. Quite frankly, it's for buyer agents, listing agents, and inside sales agents. The class is like 50-50 ISAs to agents. And really, we're teaching the sales process. So how do you have a relationship-based sales process with people that works, but you're not an obnoxious salesperson? That's like the tagline, like how to sell without being obnoxious. That's basically what that class is. And it teaches you how to build relationships with people. And that is what earns the sale. You can learn about both of those classes at ISAMAPScoaching.com. Also, there's a link there in the chat box, but ISAMAPScoaching.com. Okay. Some of you are sending me private messages about dog resources. Thank you. I love you guys. Thank you. Jesse, can we have the link for today? The MAPS YouTube channel, and Rodrigo, maybe you can post the link. I think you just go to the Fast Track YouTube and that should be up there within 24 hours. You can watch this again. Okay. Any last questions? We're actually a tad over time. I can hang on for a second. What other questions do you guys have, if any?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
So how do you say they are not a customer service. So when they're doing the converting, where do I stop the ISA so they don't start doing customer service or administration?
That is a big question. So here's what I would say, Carmen, is the job of an ISA is to sell the appointment. So really, ISA should be asking lots of questions, but telling very little information. And here's the reason. Let's say I'm talking to you, Carmen, and you're asking me all these questions about the process and how's this work and how's your marketing work and how all this stuff. If I answer every question, why would you then go meet with an agent? Right? It's just like I had blood work done maybe a year ago. I was really tired all the time. So I was like, let me just see if I have any vitamins off or something. Well, the doctor called and told me all your blood levels are fine. you probably just need more sleep. Then she said, let's set a time for an appointment. And I kindly said, I was like, if you don't mind me asking, what's the reason for the appointment? And she laughed. And she said, yeah, I guess I just kind of told you all your blood test results, didn't I? And I was like, yeah, you did. I was like, I mean, if there's a reason to get together, I'm happy to do that. I'm just curious, what would that meeting be for? And she was like, well, actually, there isn't a reason. It would be to go over your blood work. And I just told you. So I was like, okay, bye. So the point here is, Carmen, like, ISA should be good at asking questions. They should be good at figuring out what the client needs and basically just saying, that's a great question. When you meet with the agent, they'll go over that with you. That's a great question. The agent will cover that.
Will you have also make the appointment first for the buyer's consultation, or you also get them an appointment to get pre-approved with my preferred lenders?
That's something that's team choice. That's a preference that you have to decide as a team. My personal standard was if I set an appointment for a buyer to meet with an agent, they were already pre-approved. But there's no right or wrong. And this is something, Carmen, that honestly we spent an hour talking through in the class Mastering Inside Sales. So it's hard to answer that quickly because it's a process. But just know in the class Mastering Inside Sales, we spend one whole hour talking about how do you pre-qualify a client to decide whether or not they're ready to meet with an agent. So we go over, I give them qualification sheets and we spend a whole hour just on that. But that's my short answer in the time that we have.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The next launch, I see that question. It says lunch, but I mean, lunch for me is going to be actually in about an hour. I haven't had lunch yet and it's 4 o'clock. But the next launch for class is going to be September 1st. September 1st. Right, Rodrigo? We just finalized that today, I believe.
Yes, for how to hire and train, yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. We have 2 different classes. So the how to hire, train, and retain ISAs is going to be September 1st. The class for mastering inside sales, you have 2 options. We have one running right now, and we're 5 sessions in, I believe, out of 18. So you could hop in, but you're right on that cusp where maybe it's better to wait for the next one. So if you sign up for Mastering Inside Sales today, you'll get all the classes we've done already recorded on demand. So you'll have like 5 or 6 hours on demand. They could knock that out in 1 or 2 afternoons. So if you just hired an ISA and you want them to get training, that could be a great leverage tool. Have them watch those webinars for 5 to 6 hours and you just filled up quite a bit of your new hire training. And then they can join us live for the remaining sessions. Or wait till our next launch, which is August 3rd. August 3rd. It's the first Wednesday. Is that the 3rd? It's the first Wednesday in August. I think it's the 3rd. I'm doing that totally off the top of my brain. Okay. Yeah. So August 3rd, Mastering Inside Sales. Or you could join right now. Just know you're jumping in a few sessions in. They can join the live class this Wednesday and they won't be lost because they missed the first 4 or 5, but they are there on demand for them to catch up. The link, if you go to isamapscoaching.com, you'll see both classes sitting there. isamapscoaching.com. And let me put that there again. Okay. Someone sent me a question. Will you talk about software for onboarding logistics? I don't go deep into it because every team is different. Budgets are different. I more teach you how to use the system. For example, I'll say things like they shouldn't be using their cell phone because if they leave the team, all the leads have their personal cell phone. We don't want that. And I'll recommend, here are some phone services people use, but I don't go deep into software. It's kind of down in the weeds, right? But I'll teach you the big picture. You want programs that can do this for you, but I'm not going to say, here's 10 that I've pre-screened and I highly recommend, because it really just depends on your market, depends on your budget, things like that. Okay, awesome. So if you want help knowing how to have a relationship-based sales process, Mastering Inside Sales is the class for you, whether you're a buyer, listing, or inside sales agent. I even had a photographer take it, and she said it helped her grow her business. In fact, she quit showing up halfway through the class, and I asked her, are you okay? And she said, yes, my business has gotten so busy from what I've implemented the first half of the class that now I'm watching the recordings because I'm not free anymore in the afternoon to watch it live. I was like, great. And I was a photographer. So if you talk to humans and you want to turn them into a client, Mastering Inside Sales is the class for you. And then if you are looking to hire an ISA in 3 months in September 1st, it's about 2.5 months away, we will have the How to Hire, Train, and Retain ISAs class. All right, guys, we are over time by about 8 minutes. So I want to respect your time. I'm going to let you go. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And hopefully I'll see many of you in class sometime soon. Have a great day.